So today we are gonna make my Cajun Salmon Burgers. These are another recipe from my cookbook, Eat Your Heart Out, which is available for pre-order now. Guys, the recipes that I'm showing you from this book are meant to show you the range of things that I eat as part of a reset that I do when I wanna get my healthy eating back on track. There are 150 recipes free from gluten, free from refined sugar, and still totally full of flavor, because you guys know that I'm not willing to sacrifice that just because I want to eat a little lighter. And obviously being full at the end of my meal is also super critical to me. And you'll love that these burgers are things you can make ahead to have for quick lunches or dinners throughout the week, which is lovely. But I'm actually going to make this a layered recipe. So I'll show you how to make the burgers, and then I'm gonna make additional videos to show you a quick finishing sauce that I love to dip it into, and another video of a quick side salad with a lemon anchovy vinaigrette, which is an awesome vinaigrette to have in your arsenal. Tools and tricks to use, super flavor packed, really easy to put together, and makes for a very tantalizing and restaurant style salad that you can pair with these salmon burgers and make a really lovely like weekend brunch spread, etc. So a very versatile, very layered, very healthy, very delicious recipe coming your way from Eat Your Heart Out. I first got turned on to the idea of fish cakes when I was living in London working a banking job in college, and we would go for like pub dinners with my friends, and it was you tuck into these warm, hearty little like nuggets of delicious fish, and really it was like a perfect comfort food type of deal. But I decided to take that original inspiration and meld it with the bright flavor infusion of a Cajun style seasoning, some typical spices that we have here. We have oregano, garlic powder, paprika, some sweet paprika, dry mustard, dry thyme, and then some cayenne, and obviously salt. You can dial up or down the cayenne depending on how spicy you feel like being. I'm gonna start with some sauteed scallions. Let me tell you something about a fish patty. You can really customize this however you like. If you choose shallots instead of scallions, if you want to use red onion, white onion, yellow onion, whatever sort of onion family item you have, totally fine. You just want to create a little bit of juiciness to carry through the fish blend, and obviously a little bit of onion flavor is delightful. The other thing you will notice, of course it's a gluten-free recipe, is I'm going to use almond flour to replace any other sort of breadcrumb mix that might typically go into a fish patty. And what you will find is it stays so juicy and dense and fresh tasting. It's delightful. Let's cut some scallions. Okay, so I call for 2 scallions in my recipe because I feel like, I wanted to make this a nice universal palate pleaser, but you can definitely go heavier if you'd like, and I do like, so I'm gonna use 4. But again, it's really just to make sure that it has enough juiciness and flavor carrying throughout your fish mix. So just give a quick chop to your scallions. I am not afraid of oil, as you guys know. I love some olive oil, but just being mindful of where we can have what we want flavor-wise and still do it in a way that supports our health. I am going to use 2 tablespoons here just to lubricate the base of the pan here and start that saute process happening with all these yummy scallions going in. I also am a big fan of taking liberties at this stage with the saute process, because using that 2 tablespoons of oil, you can saute any other chopped veggies you want to throw in here. I love zucchini. I love a red bell pepper. It brings so much natural sweetness. I love a Fresno chili if you want to create even more heat coming through. Yellow squash. While those scallions are sauteing, it's going to take about 4 minutes. I just want to season with a bit of salt to help draw out that water and begin the caramelization sweetening process. Just to make sure everybody is sharing in the oil nicely. So let's start on the salmon itself. I went and got my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, do not worry. This is absolutely a recipe you can make entirely by hand, and I frequently do. You just are gonna roughly chop your salmon and then stir everything together. It comes together perfectly, but just because I have it, I figured we would use it. And it does make it easier if you're making like a bulk batch. I'm going to turn my heat down to medium here and let those continue to fry away. If you can get your hand on a side of salmon, do it that way. I have some lovely salmon fillets here, and all I wanna do is remove the skin. So the best way to do that is you can bring your board close to the edge of your counter, and then you're just going to begin to slide your knife between the base of the skin and the flesh, kind of putting some pressure on the skin itself to hold it in place as you work your way along the fillet to perfectly remove your salmon from its skin. This, my friends, is a delightful topper if you don't want to get rid of it. You can actually spray it with just a tiny bit of olive oil and tuck it in your air fryer and get the most gorgeously crisp salmon skin topper. You can also do it in a saute pan, no issues. Speaking of which, this looks lovely. Over my medium heat with my now nicely caramelizing scallions, I am going to add in my dry blend. So again, we are using sort of a blackening spice blend. I have oregano, I have garlic powder, I have sweet paprika, I have dry mustard, dried thyme, and cayenne pepper for a little heat. You can leave that off if you're not a big fan of heat, but I think you are. One thing about the garlic powder, I do like to have garlic powder through here because I find that it blends the flavor together in a really nice way throughout the salmon patty. But you can definitely use some fresh garlic. In fact, I might even add additional fresh garlic just to keep it jazzy. And you can definitely use fresh thyme as well. If I had that, I would add some of that in. Again, this is really a book that is all about trying to bring a lot of confidence into the kitchen, trying to make sure that every time you get in there to cook something delicious for yourself, it's rewarding, it's confidence boosting, it feels freeing, and it feels adventurous. Like, I think part of why we get stuck in not loving healthy food is because it can feel repetitive and it can feel bland. And if I want you to eat your heart out, it has to be anything but. So really you can use these recipes as a jumping off point and then customize to your little heart's content. I have my spice mix toasting here with my scallions. I'm just gonna let that continue to toast over a low heat, another minute or so, while I continue to quickly chop up the rest of this salmon. And you're just sort of using this little saw motion, trying not to tear the skin or the lovely piece of salmon that you're working with. And at this point, if you were making this by hand, just give this a rough chop. I mean, it's literally as simple as slicing an original vertical slice and then coming back and doing it horizontally. You get these nice big hunks of salmon into our food processor. Let me wash my hands quickly. So to our salmon mix, I am gonna add some fresh parsley just to keep it nice and fresh and flavorful. I've got stems, little tender stems, and the leaves here, probably about a quarter cup. And the reason I am bothering to chop through them quickly now is I don't wanna have to over blend the salmon in the food processor. I'm not looking for a paste. Another reason why this is a simple recipe to make by hand. So parsley and stems going in, zest of the lemon, and then the juice of 1/2. Check out all that lovely zest. What I'm gonna do here is take the juice of 1/2 a lemon and actually squeeze it into my pan to help soak up all that delicious flavor from the bottom of our spice blend. Get rid of that seed in there. You can see the lemon juice helps to pull up all that flavor that might otherwise have been left behind on the pan. It will also help to speed along the cooling process. You do want this mix to be basically completely cool before you add it in with your salmon so it doesn't risk cooking your fish before you are ready. So leave that over here off your heat. And I will just quickly pulse together our yummy salmon blend. All right, perfect. Nice and uniformly pulled together, making sure I didn't just let it run, which could have given us that paste that we're not interested in. I like to leave a few pieces here and there that are a little bit chunkier so that you, again, can show off that you made this from a fresh salmon fillet, like the kitchen queen that you are. Okay, this is now cool enough that it's not going to cook our salmon. I am going to bring our spice blend in. All we have to do at this point is give it a quick blitz, and we are in business, ready to go. Delightful. Okay, we're going in with 1/2 cup of almond flour, and now I meant to add this in with our spice blend, and I don't really want to risk over mixing at this point, so I am just going to stir this around into our salmon mix, and then just give one quick blitz to make sure it's fully incorporated, and that is providing the perfect binder we need to drink up the juiciness and make sure we can have these lovely, fully formed salmon patties. Perfect. Let's form some patties. Grab yourself a sheet tray and some parchment paper. And that's just to help me clean up a breeze. Well, now I have a kitchen buddy. Hello, Luca. You can have a little bowl of water by your hands, which will help you form the patties without making too much of a mess. And now one thing I do like to do is I'll make these in advance and then tuck them in the fridge and let them set up like 3 or 4 hours just so that they're fully stuffed together. But if you don't have time to do that, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to roughly portion out my 4 patties and then I will show you how to form them. All right, so I'm going to get 5 patties out of this because I had a little extra salmon and I can totally smell the zest of that lemon coming through. Luca is hoping some of this will fall to him. So like with all burgers, the only thing you can really go wrong with is overpacking and overworking your meat or your fish in our case. So I really form these loose balls and then just sort of gently press them into, I would say, about 1 inch thick patties. I prefer them at that thickness because I do want them cooked all the way through, but I don't want to have to cook them so long that they risk being overdone. People are shocked. They are always shocked to find that the more you cook fish, the fishier it becomes. It's counterintuitive. You think you're going to cook the fishiness away. As the fat in fish hardens and congeals when it's cooking, it's actually what brings about that very super fishy flavor. So you want to be able to have these patties be such that they are going to cook quickly, about 3 to 4 minutes per side, be fully done through the center, but not have to be overcooked. So you can maintain that lovely, fresh flavor of the sea that we are interested in. So I love to cook these in a cast iron skillet. You can definitely do them in a nonstick. That's really nice as well. The cast iron just does give that nice little bit of crusting. So I let the pan get pretty hot before I add my first tablespoon of oil, just so we can limit the risk of it accidentally burning and in any way changing the flavor of our patties. And I'll probably do them 2 at a time, but you can see the oil is shimmering and dancing across the surface of our pan. Make sure that it's coating the whole surface of your pan and then listen for this. I'm going to let these cook over a medium-high heat, 3 to 4 minutes on the first side. Don't fight them. They will release from the pan on their own when they are ready to be flipped. Flip them, cook them another 3 to 4 minutes. They'll be fully done in the center, but just perfectly so. No overcooking on my watch. And that's it. That's the simple Cajun salmon burger that you didn't know you were missing. Okay, so I flipped it both sides. Here is the gorgeous golden brown crust we are left with. That really nice crisp texture generated without any breadcrumbs. I hit it with a little salt right when it comes out of the hot oil. Going in with our last remaining tablespoon of that olive oil. It is already nice and hot in that pan. And then let's see if I can get all 3 in at this time. You don't want to overcrowd, but you should be able to. The parchment paper also really helps to make sure that the patties don't stick to your tray, and giving them a little chance to rest in the fridge helps with that as well, of course. One thing to note is when I pull the burgers out of the oil, I do set them on a paper towel lined plate, just so they stay nice and light and crisp. So this is a really good test. As I shake, you can see the burgers are moving around. That's because a really firm, delicious crust has been created on the underside. So now I can easily slip underneath and quickly flip each burger. Last guy. And that's why you really don't move the patty at all once you put it down. Look at how simply that came out. No fighting with the pan. A gorgeous golden brown crisp crust. Let the other side finish exactly like the way we did the first. And we are going to have some truly flavorful, texturally perfect, light symphony of salmon burgers. Let's see if the shake test is ready. Shake test is ready. All right, let's finish up these delicious salmon burgers. Take a serving of your garlic aioli and just give yourself a little swizzle. Pick your favorite burger. Okay, this is gonna be mine right here. Now, one thing you can note here is it's nice and firm here at the center. The fish is cooked through all the way. I'm gonna break it open just so you can see. So delicious. Well, since I have it broken open, maybe I'll do that. And maybe I'll do this, because why not, now that we're here. Maybe I'll do this, because why not now that we're here? Just to really juice that bad boy up. And maybe I'll do this, because why not now that we're here? And now, my friends, let's tuck into our Cajun salmon burgers, straight out of Eat Your Heart Out. Get a little of that sauce on. The texture coming through on that crust of the salmon burger is so nice because the inside is soft and succulent. Such a great punch of flavor coming in with those Cajun spices, a little kick at the back of the throat from the cayenne. I have to tell you, if you do like it spicy, keep that cayenne in and add a little Fresno chili or other fresh chili when you're sauteing your veg. This aioli is the perfect, just little bit of melting sauciness to continue to keep the whole thing extra juicy. I love that fresh lemon. The salty pop of those briny capers coming through that marry so beautifully with the taste of the sea in this salmon burger. It's protein packed. It's full of fresh flavor. It is the perfect weekday lunch, easy weeknight meal. You can make them ahead and have them just to throw into your grain bowls and salad mixes and things like that throughout the week. But were you wanting to create the perfect side salad to pair with this? I'm going to show you how to make a lemon anchovy vinaigrette with a frisée salad in the next video that pairs perfectly with this delicious salmon patty. Were you wanting a lovely little brunch situation for the weekend?